Greetings. My name is Dr. Waddell Brooks Sr., your host, and this is Community Forum. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an outstanding program this evening. We're talking with President of Youth Age Culinary, Robert Collins. He's also a retired veteran of the U.S. Navy, and he's a graduate of Robert Morris University. Greetings, Chief Collins.
How you doing, sir?
We're very happy that you're taking time to be on a program this afternoon with your naval background and also what you've been doing after Navy is very impressive. And I thought Lake County should know that you are a person that Lake County should know. Not only Lake County, but this program airs in Cook County, Kenosha County, and also it's online. So if you're not known all over the world, you've probably been all over the world, been in the Navy, but you will be known after this program is aired. But tell us a little bit about your personal professional background.
20 years in the military, retired Navy.
Okay.
Said a couple tours, and I was a culinary instructor in the military. I was a CS, what we call culinary specialist in the military.
Okay.
So I was cooking for multitudes of individuals, anywhere from 2,000 to 5,000 per meal, right here at Great Lakes Naval Station as well. So I had the opportunity of doing that, and it was a blessing to do that. And God put it on me prior to getting out, that He wanted me to teach kids. God, you got to be joking, because I have kids. And God said, no, that's what I want you to do. Okay. I want you to teach kids how to cook. And He put the name on me. He told me what He wanted me to name the program, and I did exactly that. Didn't happen right away. I continued to run a restaurant, had a restaurant, and do catering, but eventually it came full circle, and God told me to do what He asked me to do, and here I am. So that's exactly what I'm doing. I've had cook for myriad of individuals in the civilian sector and also in the military sector.
I like your mission. You mentioned about you're interested in changing lives one at a time.
Correct.
So tell us about your school.
Well, Youth Age Culinary is the basis for, it's not just a school for cooking, which it is, but what we're trying to do is educate and promote kids and show kids how to live a productive life by eating things they don't normally eat, vegetables, and also instilling them that in order for you to be successful in life, you have to take care of your body. Okay. Don't make it a diet. Make cooking and eating a way of life. If it becomes a way of life, then you tend to do it other than it being a diet. And we have so many kids that are eating fast foods, McDonald's and Burger King, and a lot of times it's not their fault. It's the parents buying the food for them, because the kids don't have the money to buy it. But it's time for the kids to, kind of take control and say, hey, Mom, can we cook dinner tonight? Dad, can we cook dinner? And if we teach the kids how to educate the adults, then that's our focus right there. Teaching the kids how to cook for themselves and take care of themselves and make better choices with their foods.
This is fantastic. This is a not-for-profit organization that you have?
It is. It's a not-for-profit. We started in 2013.
Okay.
2013. But it didn't become a nonprofit until 2016. So we've been doing it for a while. We work with a couple organizations with kids that were less fortunate. We work with different programs. We work with the Fuller Center for Housing, Yvette Ewing, downtown Waukegan, with her HERO program. So it's been in the community for a while.
Now, what type of staffing you have? You're a head chef, but what about your staffing?
Well, yes, I am. I'm the head chef, but our staffing for the school, we have volunteers that run the
Okay.
program. We have volunteers that run the program. I have a partner, Mario Fiju, who does a great job. We have Chef Dougie, who helps out tremendously. He works with the kids as well. We have volunteers, like I said, that play a major role in trying to make sure that the kids get all the fundamentals and basics that they need to learn.
You have also several groups there. You have tiny chefs, junior chefs, and also senior chefs.
Correct.
And you want to tell us about the reason for the different groups?
Well, we figure we catch all ages. The tiny chefs, we want to start the kids as early as possible so that they can learn from the beginning at a young age. So 4-year-old to 7-year-old is the age for the tiny chef program. 8 to 13 is the age for the junior chef program, and the senior chef program is 13 to 18.
Okay. Tell us how important it is to start that young age of tiny chefs 4 to 7.
Well, now today it's very important, especially for young kids, because as you know, child obesity, hypertension, high blood pressure, diabetes is an alarming rate with youth as well, not just adults. So if we teach the kids while they're young about healthy eating, about making healthy choices, knowing what's in their food, I think that plays a major part of when they get older. It's easier for them if we start them young. If we start them, the younger we start them, the better they'll be when they get a little older. And the junior chef, they go up, they graduate, and they'll continue this trend as a way of life if we catch them when they're really young, and it just continues the pattern as they get older.
This is fantastic. Location is very important. You're located where?
508 North Seymour. It's downtown Mundelein, which is under a lot of new renovation. They're adding a lot of new facilities, a lot of restaurants and businesses in the area. So the opportunity came up for us to open a location there because they wanted new things in the area. They wanted new businesses to come in and help. So that was offered to us, and that's one of the areas we selected to go to.
I noticed that the administration is happy to have you come there too. I noticed that the trustees were excited about.
Yes, they were.
It would enhance the village area.
It did. It really did. It took off. We've had several sponsors, but just to get the kids involved, give them something else to do, learn a healthy way of life, kind of set the stage for their inviting us and saying, whatever we can do to help you, we're here. So that's exactly what they did. So whatever we needed help with, be it getting students, marketing, they were there to help us out.
And how about marketing? How do the kids or parents find out about your school?
Well, what we do is we do a lot of social media. We do flyers, of course. We have flyers that we put out, and let people know what we're doing. All our information is in here. Our website, of course, you can go to our website at youthagculinary.com and get the information from there. We go to different schools. So I'll go to different schools.
Okay.
See, I'll go into schools, do a free class for the kids, and give them an opportunity to see what we're offering, to show them how to make healthy foods that they've never had or foods that they've never been introduced to. And they go, wow, I want to learn that. So that's a platform for us to get the kids to come to our facility and see what we're doing.
I could see where this would go by leaps and bounds because I never did learn how to cook.
Right.
And it had some effect upon healthy living too.
Now, it's not too late, Dr. Brooks. We can get you. It's not too late. We do adult classes as well too.
Okay.
We do adult classes as well because I'm an advocate for diabetes. Okay. So not just the high school age, we don't stop there, but we promote healthy living for all ages. A lot of older people, when we get older, we know everything. We don't want to make those changes. But me being an advocate for diabetes, because I'm diabetic, type 2,
Okay.
I had to, when I found out, it just crushed me. You know, it rocked me, because my family had diabetes, and a lot of people won't come out and tell you they have diabetes because they're ashamed that they have it. But it's nothing to be ashamed of. Okay, so we have adult classes where we teach people that have high blood pressure, hypertension, diabetes. We also work with them if they want to learn, they want to get some classes in. We don't have a problem showing or setting up a class for them to show them how to make better choices.
This is outstanding because when I'm a type 2 diabetic also, and I was a walking diabetic, didn't know it.
Didn't know it,
until
right.
I get the annual physicals are very important.
Correct.
And that's where it was caught, and then I had annual physical. And then I had to be taught how to eat healthy foods. And that's the key, right?
It is. Knowledge is power, especially when it comes to diabetes. It's not the end of the world, but diabetes is, when you get diabetes or you're diagnosed with diabetes, what happens is your life as you know it has to change. It's not that you want to change it. You have to change. You have to change your eating habits. You have to change the times you eat. So if you make yourself knowledgeable of what changes you need to make in your life, it'll prolong your life. At the same time, it'll keep your numbers low where they should be. Learning how to eat moderation. Those were the things that were hard because in the military we had to eat. You know, we had some bad eating habits in the military.
Okay.
You know, you have to eat fast, hurry up, eat, and get back to work. You don't have time. So you make bad choices. You know, a lot of times, not saying they have bad food because we didn't. It's just that the food that you ate, a lot of choices. I wish when I was younger, somebody had told me about diabetes, or you have to eat healthy, or if you don't eat healthy, this can happen to you. But nobody ever told me that. So that's our focus, is to teach these kids while they're young.
Right. Okay, you know, not only cooking and eating healthy foods and so forth, but like you mentioned about, it's so important, it's a way of life.
It is.
Yeah.
It should be. It is. For it to become a way of life, though, you need to know what that means.
Okay.
You know, before you get diagnosed with diabetes, know what foods can lead to diabetes, because when you get diabetes, you know, those effects that come along with it, heart problems, varicose vein problems, your veins start to collapse. So you have kidney failure and your liver failure. So all diabetes plays a major part of your life. So if you don't understand what you need to do to get better, then sure enough, you're setting yourself up for failure. Okay, it's very important to understand something before you kind of attack it. But you have to have a plan of attack. You have to work out, try not to eat after 7 o'clock, moderate, watch what you eat, know what's in your food, count your total carbs. You know, you set your carbs. If you know you're going to burn more in the daytime, keep your carbs where they should be. Under 50 for breakfast and 60 for lunch. So it's very important to understand that. If you don't, then of course you get elevated numbers.
And this is part of the training too, right?
It is. We educate kids on that. We educate our youth, and I talk to them about my circumstance, because you know I want them to learn not to do the things that I did coming up. You know, you have to. Which I never was a sweet eater, but just knowing what causes diabetes or what can lead to diabetes. Some people, it's hereditary, they can't avoid it. Others, you know, you kind of have a choice with all the white rice, and you know, coming up in that southern family, you know, we had to have the soul food.
Yeah,
you know, we had the soul food, but it wasn't good for us, but it was what we had to eat. It was good to us. You know, the macaroni and cheese and the dressings, and it's good, but you have to learn how to make it different. Now, I still cook it for my clients that want that mac and cheese. I don't know, I can't stop them. But at the same time, I have found healthier choices or healthier ways to cut back and make it a little more healthier for them.
What about moderation, which they will tell you about moderation, but you tell them about leaning away from it altogether, or how do you?
No, well, just knowing how to eat moderation. You can enjoy it if you know what size you should have for what meats. It's very important. If you know that you should only have a 6 ounce portion of meat, eat the 6-ounce portion. Don't eat 12.
Okay.
Things of that nature. If you know that on your plate you should have color, you should have plenty of vegetables on your plate. If your plate has no color on it, you shouldn't be eating it until you have some vegetables or something with color. Green definitely keeps you lean. Especially if you have diabetes, a lot of people don't know that, but if your numbers are elevated and you have diabetes, if you eat green leafy vegetables, it'll reduce your sugar.
Okay.
Celery, broccoli, kale, those 3 ingredients right there, you have higher elevated numbers. If you make a kale salad and eat a kale salad, it'll bring it down. Pickles, another one. You just have to be careful not to eat too much of it because it can drop you too low. So you really have to just educate yourself on what foods do what. And once again, try not to eat after 7 o'clock. That's the worst enemy.
Okay.
Because, your body produces the most at night while you're sleeping. So you really got to be careful what you eat at night. The potato chips, and, you like to do those refrigerator runs. You got to back away from all that. It's really hard, but you really have to just set yourself and say, I'm going to do this.
It is difficult.
It is.
Because
It is.
I tried, but I have to have something sweet. Oh, what about diabetic foods?
Diabetic foods?
Yeah, you got the sugar-free ice cream and sugar-free pies.
Well, I'm not a believer of that. I believe that if you make
it said no sugar added. I
No,
guess,
right. Those, good substitutes. You have some good substitutes that are out there, like using honey instead of sugar, using kosher salt instead of iodized salt. Use, if possible, they do have a lot of good substitutes for flour. Try and stay away from the flour if you have to. Use wheat flour. If not wheat flour, use rice flour. So you got to kind of be careful with what you're using. Know what's in the product. A lot of the things that they say they take something out, if they take something out of it, typically they put twice as much as something else in it.
Okay.
You may not know it, and they tell you, it's sugar-free or this, that, but there's something that's giving it that sweet. So you just have to be careful with that. If you make it yourself, and I always say that, nobody can tell you what's in it but you, because you made it. But if you go to a store, even if you read the ingredients, some of them you may not understand what's in it.
Okay.
They have codes, so the code may be a color. A code could be a chemical. Cereal, same thing. So just educating yourself on your nutrition label, your facts, nutrition facts is very important.
Okay.
Your portion size, once again, is important. Carbs, what's good fat, what's not good fat. And those are things that can kind of change your life. If you go to the store looking for all the things that say no sugar added, and you kind of set yourself up, because now you're depending on that food to take care of you. But if you cook those things at home, you know what's in it, like using honey, for example, without natural honey instead of using sugar as a sweetener. Cutting back on your salt intake, using kosher salt and sea salt. Those things are very important.
That's a very important point for our listening audience, because I used to see people sit down and eat out, and the first thing, without tasting the food,
They start sprinkling.
Pass the salt and pepper.
Salt and pepper.
Well, you haven't tasted yet.
Haven't tasted. But so many people have that palate that they have to have salt in their mind, and pepper. They don't. Pepper is good. Pepper is good. Salt, not so much. And you really have to. Sometimes you get a reality check, and my reality check came in 2000, between 2014 and 14. I lost 6 family members within a year.
Wow.
I lost my mom on a Saturday. I lost my aunt on a Thursday, her younger sister, at 57.
Now, cause of death, what is it?
Diabetes.
It was diabetes?
Both diabetes. Diabetes played a factor with my aunt, and diabetes played a factor with my mom, caused her to have a stroke. And once again, that diabetes, when it gets you, it does other things to your body. I have an uncle, to be candid, suffered from diabetes, had both his legs amputated.
Okay.
So we as a people, man, we have to just be more cautious. I know we love those southern foods, that gravy and the rice and you know, the smothered this and smothered that.
But if you don't eat the white rice, eat
brown rice. Substitute brown rice, quinoa. Quinoa is really good. Rice, like I said, white rice you can eat it in moderation, but the brown rice is better for you. Along with quinoa is really good. You know, find some other alternatives. than the white rice.
But like you said, in the South, people just didn't know any better.
Right. Yeah. But now there's no excuse. There's internet. There's a gym. There's 24 hours gym out here. We have to work out, try and get that in the diet. It's really hard, even for me, to keep a workout schedule. So you have to squeeze it in somehow or another, from one job to another to the school. And it's hard, but you got to get it in. You have to find a way to get it in, even if it's home. So doing sit-ups or crunches at home, I lost 50 pounds. Doing this. It's not just I'm talking about it. I've lived it. I was overweight, real overweight. And the military, I didn't have a problem working out, but I was still overweight. So to kind of bring your weight down, lose 50 pounds, my sugar numbers are normal when I go to the doctor. I have no problem. Doctor said, whatever you're doing, just keep it up.
Right.
Just keep it up.
Right.
But just knowing and making yourself, educating yourself on the causes and effects will help you a lot.
Now, there's two visions I want you to lean on. One is the vision that you had for this school, for this program.
Correct.
And you want to talk about that. And you start this vision while you're in the military or before?
Correct. God brought it to me like prior to me getting out of the military.
Okay.
And I mailed myself a letter. With the name of everything he told me. It was a dream, and it came to me, and I mailed it to myself, and I kept it. And I didn't open that until I opened the school out in Mundelein.
Wow.
So which was like 7 years later.
Okay.
So that's just how God works, and we have to be on this journey as a people because, like I said, so many kids are underprivileged. We have a lot of programs that are giving food, but if I give you food and you don't know how to prepare it properly, it does no good. We have a food pantry. They give out food at the food pantry.
Right.
But are they teaching you how to cook the food? You're going to take the food home and you're going to go back to smothering the chicken they gave you. You're going to go back to making the mac and cheese with the cheese they gave you. So if we just educate ourselves and our youth especially, we'll be a much better people. And God gave me this not just as a school, but I want to open a restaurant ran by youth.
Oh,
That's the whole purpose. I want to open a restaurant ran by youth, front of the house, back of the house, customer service, and to become a hub so that other restaurants in the area can come to us and say, we'd like to have this amount of students. They get the food service and sanitation license. They've had the background. They've been trained. Now they can move on to the food service industry.
So the preparation in your school is so important.
It is. It's key. It's key. Preparation. If you learn how to prepare, you have a party, and I do a ton of parties, but if you prepare ahead of time, preparation, knowing, and we have a term, and I teach the kids young called mise en place, which means preparing all your ingredients first, getting it all together first. If you do the same thing in life, the same thing you apply in the kitchen, you apply in life, it'll go smoother for you. Mise en place, use the same term in life. Get all your ingredients together. Have a plan of attack. Think about what you want to do before you start, and then think about what it should look like when you finish. You can do that, and you're ahead of the game.
I mentioned two visions. The other vision is your sight. In other words, diabetes does affect your sight, right?
Not mine.
It affects.
Not mine, but it does. It affects your vision.
Okay.
Stigma. Yeah, a lot of people. My dad had, at his age, he has diabetes as well. So he had to have the laser surgery in the eyes. And that's why it's important to go to the doctor yearly. I think it's for your eyes every 2 years, and get your eyes checked. Make sure you're okay. But if your numbers are elevated and stay high all the time, it really plays a factor with your eyes.
Because normally you're going to develop cataracts as you get older.
Yeah.
But this is the diabetes affected beyond the cataracts.
It does. It affects the vessels.
Okay.
It causes your vessels to burst because your sugar, you're elevated, your sugars are high, your blood pressure's high, and sugar just does so many different things to your body that we as a people tend to overlook it and say, I just have diabetes. It's not that you want to claim it and say you have it, but you can't ignore it and say you don't have it.
Okay.
So yeah, it definitely plays a part in your feet. your veins, your varicose, your veins, and everything, because they start to collapse and creates a lot of problems.
Well, now I can see why the earlier you start teaching in the school system, the better, right?
Yes.
Because I noticed that, for instance, like when the budget is determined what's going they cut or not, they always cut like woodworking, home economics, those programs are cut, but those should be enhanced, right?
You would think the hands-on training. When we came up, we had a lot of those wood programs, and those were things that kind of kept you out of trouble and made sure that you had a trade.
Okay.
Had a lot of trade schools in. Now you don't see that as much. Everything is
My son
computers.
had home economics. He learned how to cook.
Exactly. Learn how to cook.
And he still
Yeah, so he still learns. That's what, if you teach them young when they go to college, we have a college program where we teach kids as well. So before the kids go off to college, they come to the school and they learn how to prepare food that they can make in the college dorm. Okay, and a lot of kids use the noodles, the ramen noodles, which is not good for you, but a lot of kids do because that's the only way of means they have of feeding themselves, they think. But if we educate them and show them that you can make other foods besides ramen noodles healthy, then of course they can use that and apply it in life as they get older. But a lot of schools are taking out things that really matter to kids, now. And like I said, the government, state funds are cut. It's hard, even for us as a nonprofit. We don't get the support because a lot of people they just don't have it or are holding on to what they have. But because we're a nonprofit, we definitely need any help we can get so we can continue to educate and promote healthiness and a way of life for these kids.
Wow. And your school is is full-time or part-time or?
Well, our program is designed 3 ways. Tiny Chef program is on Saturday mornings.
I got you.
The Junior Chef is Monday through Thursday from 4. There's 2 classes. One starts at 4 to 5:30, and the other one goes from 6 to 7:30, and that's Monday through Thursday. We do birthday parties on weekends for kids as well, or Fridays. We also have a program for senior chefs, and the Senior Chef program is typically Monday through Friday from 7:30 to 9. That's for the older kids, the 13 to 18-year-olds. And then, of course, we do special education development of Lake County programs. So kids that have disabilities, we work with them as well. So we've had CLC's PSP program. We just completed theirs for the summer, and also CEDAW. So we do classes for CEDAW as well.
So really, there's no typical day for Robert Collins, right?
Oh no, nothing typical about it. You got to sleep on the fly, close your eyes, wake back up. It's time to go get it. We got to get these kids. We have to. I go to different schools. Like I said, I'll go into schools and educate and promote healthy living. Whatever it takes. Wherever there's kids, we got to be there. That's it.
This is great. Now, how are you? You mentioned you supported. You mentioned as volunteers, of course. Every organization could use volunteers,
Right.
And you have sponsorships that was sponsoring.
We've had a couple. We've had Wake Forest University for their Humanitat Day have sponsored kids as well for us. So they've been a huge sponsor, and they want to promote healthy living and humanity, of course. So that plays a part in what they're trying to do in their college. My partner, his daughter goes there. So she attends, so she was able to put us in touch with them, and that program worked out, and it was a successful program.
And you're
So they
always
sponsored like
accepting
500 kids.
donations.
Always accepting donations, please. Any way, form, or fashion, monetary or sponsor or your time, whatever it is, we're always accepting.
Give us a little background too, again, on the curriculum that you have in the school.
Well, the curriculum starts off with the basics. The curriculum starts off with food service and sanitation, proper knife handling, the basics of how to store food properly. Then we go into food preparation, how to prepare food properly, the do's and don'ts when preparing foods. And after we show them how to prepare different types of preparing, how to prepare food differently with searing, we eliminate frying, so we do searing, braising, roasting. We show them all those concepts of how to cook meat properly. And then we'll go into, after they learn to do starches, and then we'll go into salads. And then, of course, the last one we always do is plating, presentation. How does the plate look? Is it pretty? Would you eat it? Because people eat with their eyes.
Okay.
You know, people eat with their eyes, and I teach my students, if you put something out there, it should look the way you want it. It should say what you want it to say to them. Like, this is good. It looks good. I want to eat it. It should have that. So don't put anything out that you wouldn't eat.
I'm concerned about canned goods. You know, and coming up, I always get a can opener, boom, that's my lunch and everything like this.
Yeah.
But canned goods, you don't know what's how the food is salted.
Yeah, a lot of it is. It's cured. A lot of them have preservatives.
Preserved. That's why
They have a lot of preservatives in those canned foods, and a lot of it is salt. Salt is a #1 preservative. You know, it keeps food fresh, but it's salt. The sodium is so high in it that you wonder why your blood pressure is sky high.
Okay.
I try to stay away from the cans unless it's a tomato paste. I don't use too much can. I try to use everything fresh. If I can do fresh, because when you buy cans, what happens is a lot of times we as people, we buy canned goods. What do we do with them? We think canned goods, we'll put them in a cabinet.
Yeah.
You forget they're there, and then 2 years later, the can says best used by 2014, and here it is 17. Now you want to open the can and eat it. So we got to be careful with those canned goods. I just try to do everything fresh. There are times when I'm trying to think of a product I eat out of a can. There's no product I eat out of a can that like processed meats, the sausage, don't eat them. The processed meats are bad for you. You know, it really, especially for and I shouldn't say they're bad for diabetics. Let me rephrase that. Processed meats, Polish sausage, hot dogs, you know, the little, what they call a Vienna sausage in a can, the Spam, all that stuff is really bad for diabetics. We really got to be careful with the canned products. You know, we have to.
I have been a lover of Polish sausage, but Polish sausage is definitely
not
good for you.
It is. It's hard to digest like a steak. And you have to, even with steak, you know, a good steak, and if you're going to do cuts of meat, understand that you have to find the good cuts of meat, center cut. If you're going to do pork chops, not a fan of pork, but if you're going to do center cut pork chops. Tenderloin, do the best parts. Steak, if you're going to do a steak, do a New York strip, lean, hardly any fat. You know, try and stay from the fatty parts. Chicken, if you're going to do the chicken breast. So you just have to know what cuts of meat are healthier and leaner than the other cuts. Once again, educating yourself.
Now, what about fish?
Fish is always good. It's okay. Fish is always good. There are certain fish, you know, some more than others. Catfish is not a fan of. Tilapia is okay, but you know, if you can do the cod or you can do the sea bass, a lot of times you can't find them. Hard to find those things. They become a little costly, but salmon is always good. Okay. Salmon is good.
You know, the school students, you lean on tell them about the importance of the hospitality field is great now. It's growing, the field, the whole hospitality field.
Most definitely. Yeah, so what we do is, the way we do that, Dr. Brooks, is we take the kids on field trips. We take the kids on different field trips, and we show them how food is prepared in different restaurants, so they see the behind the scenes of hospitality. We took them to Shaku, a Japanese restaurant. We took them to a bakery out in Wakanda. Can't remember the name right now. We took them to Tony Canoli's, see how the cannolis are made. So we take them to different places so they understand how important and what role. We took them to a firehouse, and the firemen cooked them breakfast. So we take them to different places so they can see how important and what role food plays in everyday life for everybody. It's very important. So we take them and educate them that way.
And I make a habit of having fried eggs for breakfast, but I use vegetable oil, but you never use grease for
Right.
frying.
Well, I typically would use, I try not to use vegetable oil, extra virgin olive oil.
Okay.
Yeah, if you can, if you have to, use extra virgin olive oil. Because extra virgin olive oil is a pressed oil, it's better for you. It breaks down faster, but at the same time, once again, everything should be done in moderation. So if you're going to do something, use not the vegetable oil, use the extra virgin olive oil, and use the one that's in a brown bottle or brown. If it's in a clear bottle, it's mixed with something. But try to get the authentic, the original. They cost, but it's better. It's healthier for you.
We talked about the hospitality field, but entry-level positions are highly, available too, right?
Correct. Well, what we do is we have interns.
Okay.
We have interns that come from the high school that intern with us that help us out. And along with their intern process, what they get an opportunity to do is they get to learn while we teach.
Okay, right.
You see, so
Right.
it's a learning process for them while they're interning with us. And then the older students, of course, if somebody's looking for a job, we can kind of refer them if they're of age, if they meet the requirements. So, those are things that we try to do. We're working on that because we definitely need to do more of that. It hasn't gone to where it should be or where we'd like it to be, but it's a slow process. You said we've only been open a whole year now.
Oh, okay.
This facility's only been open for a year, thank God, and it's growing. It's grown. It's continued to grow and move in a forward motion. So we're happy about that. We're blessed.
Are there any other schools that you know in the area in Lake County?
Any other schools?
Or you're the only one?
No, there's not another culinary school. Not here in Lake County. There's the one in Cook County, but besides CLC has a culinary program.
Okay.
At CLC, but typically no. What we're doing is not. We're
very
original.
unique.
It is. It's unique. We design menus for, like I said, for every age group that wants to learn how to cook a well-balanced, healthy, nutritional meal.
Okay.
So we're striving for that.
Do you get assistance from the Lake County Health Department? I know anywhere there's foods involved, they're always available for assistance.
No, we haven't got any support from them. Maybe I should hit them up for a nice one, but I haven't got just yet.
I'm surprised they haven't looked you up, because anywhere there's food involved there.
Oh yeah, they've come out, of course, when we do events and stuff, so we get our our permits to do food.
Okay.
But that's the gist of
That's it.
Yeah, that's the gist of it, and I go there to educate myself to find out what the do's and don'ts are, and how rules and regulations are always changing. I just had a class not too long ago on some of the rules that are going to take place this year as far as food service and sanitation, the licensing and things.
Yeah, I was going to mention sanitation too.
Yeah.
How important is sanitation?
Oh, man.
In other words, all the way through each avenue.
Sanitation is key, and that's what we tell the kids. Proper handling, because sanitation, food is like a loaded gun. If you don't treat it properly, it can go off.
Okay.
You could kill somebody from serving them food that's been handled improperly or been in the temperature danger zone too long. So we educate the kids on temperature danger zone, how to store food properly, making sure you don't cross-contaminate when using proper cutting boards.
Yeah.
So we have the color-coded cutting boards, and we try to show the kids the importance of making sure that your food's not out too long. When you're preparing it, wait till the last minute to go get your poultry or meat, whatever it is you're cooking. If not, put on ice. So because you're the first line of defense when it comes to your food.
Right.
Because if I neglect a product or leave it out too long, which not saying it hasn't happened, but it has happened. But the minute I'm in doubt, I toss it out.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I never want, and thank God, I'm grateful that I've got a complete record with nobody getting sick or ill. So I want to maintain that, and my students as well.
Well, what about, we spoke about the location and so forth. What about, we spoke about marketing. What about pricing?
Well, pricing right now, we have a promotion for junior chefs, especially. We're offering 4 classes for $100. Each class is an hour and a half long,
Okay.
an hour and a half to 2 hours long. Like I said, we're promotion right now, 4 classes for $100 for the junior chef. The tiny chef right now is $20 per class. Their class is held every Saturday.
Okay.
So the younger kids only pay $20. And their class also is an hour and a half. And that's held Saturday at 10 o'clock, from 10 o'clock to 11:30? Yeah, 10 to 11:30 on Saturday mornings. The the senior chef is a little more because that's a little more extensive. It's $275 a month
Okay.
for the senior chef. And that class goes into everything from soup, sauces, gravies, spices, herbs, field trips, baking. We do everything in that class for our older kids.
You mentioned about what about herbs? I know there's some health food stores.
There are.
Would you recommend those?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, there's one next to us. It's called Healthy Foods. It's right next door to us. So a lot of products that we have kids that have, and a lot of kids now have these allergies, no wheat, no soy. So I'll go next door and get the things that I need to substitute. If they can't have gluten, I mean, if they can't have wheat, I go next door and get the gluten-free pasta. So, and we promote that. If that's best for you, you have to cut that out. Then you have to do what you have to do with kids. So sometimes we create a recipe or a menu for them. We're doing healthy cupcakes. We did a gluten-free cupcake, red velvet cake. Kids loved it. Didn't know it was gluten-free, but because we had one student, we decided we make the whole class gluten-free and not tell them until the end. So they didn't know until the end. But at the same time, once again, you can make food healthy with those changes. So in herbs, we use herbs a lot, like infusing, learning how to infuse oils with rosemary and thyme and sage, instead of using salt all the time, or what we love. As a people, we always like to have our Lawry seasoning salt. The Lawry seasoning salt goes with everything. So instead of using a lot of salts, we use things that we can infuse herbs, and make your food taste flavorful without using a lot of salt.
Well, now we can understand really why education is so important. The doctors will tell you to stay away from this, but they don't give you samples of the foods that you should be eating, right?
Right.
And a lot of people just don't know.
A lot of them don't.
And you don't go in the store and look and see how many calories are on this item. And
it's very seldom you see people read the back of a box. Very seldom. When you go in the store, they just pick up what they want. The kids get what they want. And the healthier stuff is normally at the bottom of the shelf. The unhealthy stuff is always on the top and the most expensive.
Okay.
See, they do that for a reason, because the name brand stuff is up top, and they want to make more money because that's where the price point is at. But the healthier stuff may be at the bottom. But a lot of people, like I said, once again, knowledge is power. If you don't know that, and educate yourself. We have it. It's out there on the web. So look up the product that you're buying the most, see what's in it. There's an app where you can download on your phone. You can go to All Recipes, or you can actually find out what certain ingredients are on your nutrition label. So educating yourself is key. Once again, knowledge is power. I can't say that enough. And we want those kids to have this knowledge before they get old. So they can carry it with them, and hopefully teach some of the parents that know everything. Because we know everything as parents. I'm not eating that,
Yeah, right.
And then the kids will make it, and the parents, I see it all the time at school. When the kids make something, the parents say they're not going to eat their vegetables, they're not going to eat that. The kids make it, they eat it, and then they don't share with the parents. See? So kids feel empowered when they make their own food.
The parents may mention that this food is too bland, kind of bland food. In other words, not tasty.
Right, but that's because we're so used to that salt, that iodized salt. When you're used to that salt, then if you don't have it on there, it's bland. That's why a lot of people go to the hospital and say, "Oh, this food is awful."
Oh, you're right.
This is how you should have been eating the whole time. If you were eating that way, you wouldn't have ended up in the hospital.
Right.
So,
what about white bread versus wheat bread? We get different ideas about that. Is the wheat bread just colored.
It is. There's so many different concepts and theories about wheat bread and white bread. White bread, if you're going to do anything, the best thing to do is a whole grain bread.
Okay.
Whole grain or whole wheat, or 100% whole grain or 100% whole wheat. If you can do that with your bread, you're good to go.
Okay.
I don't recommend the white bread. Of course, stay away from the white bread. But if you can do those, that matters. The first ingredient should be either whole grain flour, or whole grain wheat. It's got to be. It has to be that whole grain or 100% whole grain. Look for those things in your ingredients, and then you're good to go. Mm-hmm. But once again, moderation.
Okay, right.
Moderation.
Always that.
And don't eat a whole half a loaf with butter on it. It messes up everything then.
Right. But tell us about your early life now. Did you go in the military right out of high school then?
I did. I went in the military. I was 18 years old back in 1989. Yeah, I did. Straight from Chicago, South Side.
Okay.
And it was either I was going to go to the military or probably make bad choices. I didn't have to or nothing like that. But God told me, I want you to go into the military. And I ended up in the military. But I've always loved to cook. My passion from cooking came from my grandmother, my mother, my aunt. So being around them and watching them cook, because we always had that Sunday dinner. We had the Soul Food Sunday.
Okay, right.
We had that every Sunday. I don't care if it was a birthday party or somebody's event or just for any reason. We got together as a family. Our family was very tight. Mm-hmm. So I learned how to cook from them, not meaning that everything they cooked was good for me, but it was good to me then.
Okay.
It was good to us.
Okay.
My grandmother had a garden. She taught me how to garden and go out in the backyard and get the cabbage and shuck the peas and, get the okra and everything from the backyard. Mm-hmm. So it was always fresh for us anyway.
Okay.
This is how it was. And I learned a lot from them. If I wouldn't be the man that I am if I hadn't, had that opportunity or learned from my family. Were
you allowed to choose the food service when you went in the military? Or?
What happened was I was actually an engineer.
Ah.
Yeah, I was an engineer for several years in the military.
Okay.
I became chief engineer on the boat, and I was outboard engine overhaul. So I did a lot. AC&R, I was working on air conditioning and cooling refrigerations.
Okay.
And then they wanted me, when my term came up, they wanted me to go to Japan. I had been to Japan. I really didn't like Japan.
Ah.
And culinary CS, it was MS at the time, opened up. The culinary field opened up, and they had a signing bonus. And they said, well, you can either go to Japan or get out.
Okay.
And I chose, they said, go to Japan, get out, or change rates. And I changed rates and became a chef. Okay. So that's what I did.
Wow, amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just a God-given talent. By the way, you develop a passion, and you have to have a passion for culinary if you understand to it, right? And I guess that's in any field.
Correct.
You have to have a passion.
You have to have a passion.
And this was your passion.
It is.
After engineering and so forth, air conditioning and so forth, you found it after you retired.
I have.
This was just your passion.
I found my passion, and that's to teach kids, and anyone that wants to listen, especially about diabetes, because it's serious, man. It's so serious. We're losing so many people at an alarming rate.
Right. So actually, this. I mentioned about my ratings were going up after this program, but actually so many lives would be saved, if the people have a passion for this program and say, look, I'm going to try it because my life depends on it.
Your life depends on it.
And that's why they have to take it that serious.
Right, they have to. You have to. You have to change your life in order for you to extend your life.
Right, and this is what it's all about. Right. Well, what about how important is family now? Your family involved in?
God, family, always first. My support system, my wife, Marion, love her dearly. She's always my support system. My kids, they motivate me. They always help me out. My kids have been trained. They know how to cook. So they cook dinner for Daddy. They're always there. My daughter, Chef Mimi. My son, DeMonte. Love you guys. My older daughters, all my grandbabies. I got 5 grandkids.
Right.
5 grandkids and 6 kids total. My oldest son. And
Well, I can see
daughter.
your daughter, your grandchild is supporting you tonight.
Yes, she is here.
in the studio.
So, yeah, my kids always support, you know.
This is fantastic.
It is, and I teach them first. Whether they listen or not is hard, but you know sometimes kids don't understand until after you're gone or whatever the case, till they get older, some of them. But we can only instill and plant the seed now and hope it grows.
Mm-hmm. Well, tell us about the title there, Youth Age. Tell us about that. How did that come about?
Well, Youth Age, like I said, God put that on me. The specialist, because I was a culinary specialist in the military.
Okay.
That's what they call us, a CS, culinary specialist.
Okay.
So Youth Age is people that want to keep their youth at any age.
Okay.
You want to make sure you maintain your youth. So Youth Age is where that's where that derived from. Keeping your youth at any age. So Youth Age culinary specialist. You're a culinary specialist. Anybody can be a culinary specialist. You don't have to go to culinary school. Just get in the kitchen, try different foods, expand your mind thought and your palate, and try foods that you've never tried before. Mm-hmm. Create recipes, try things that you've never tried before, and don't be scared. And stay out of the Popeyes chicken and the fast food places.
Yeah, I was thinking that President Clinton, I think he had, he couldn't stay out of the Kentucky Fried and so forth.
Right.
And he found out he had internal problems.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he had surgery and so forth.
Yeah, you really have to be careful with these fast foods. A lot of them are cutting corners. You think you're getting something and you're really not. They're substituting. They call it fish, like catfish, and you're not getting catfish. They're using soy fillet.
Okay.
You know, because the soy fillet is cheaper. It's a catfish, but it derives from the Philippines. It's a cheaper, dirtier catfish. See, it's a fish, but it's not catfish. But they pass it off as catfish. A lot of restaurants are doing that to save money.
Okay.
So but if you don't know that, then once again, you know, knowledge is power. So.
Well, where will Youth Age culinary school be in 5 years from now?
Oh wow, I plan to have, God's will, we want to have a restaurant ran by youth. We want to have a food truck ran by youth.
Okay.
And we want to have competition. We want to be able to compete. We want these, not just here in Illinois, we want to go global with this thing.
Okay.
We want to go global with it. You know, we want to be able to have kids come from all over to compete in competition here in Illinois, and have schools come here to compete and say, well, Youth Age Culinary has done it. 5 years, we got 5, 6 different locations throughout the U.S. Food truck, the restaurant ran by kids and youth. We're promoting healthy living, and we're educating at the same time. That's the game plan.
So actually what it will be is not just a cook, but the joy.
This is it.
They have to enjoy it.
You have to enjoy it. But when you see kids cooking, that's where I get mine from. It's not for money, it's for the opportunity to see the kids light up when they make something good. That's self-rewarding. That in itself is gratitude and rewarding for me. Just to see these kids' face light up when they make something that they've never made, or they taste something and they say, I never knew vegetables could taste this good.
Okay. So actually, we have people from the from the South, for example, been used to gardening, and I see people here in this area not happy unless they have a garden. They use it and they pass it on. I know we have a person of our church. I always bring my wife a bag of items that from the garden, and that's the best food, right?
It is. It is. The food from the garden is the best food.
Or maybe they call it a farmer's market.
Farmers markets are good. Farmers markets are really good as well. But that's fresh.
Okay.
It's fresh.
Okay.
Before it, goes in the store, they spray. It's not sprayed. It's typically comes straight from the garden. Those tomatoes, and we just have to pick healthier ways to cooking them. That's the key. Getting the fresh vegetables good.
Okay.
But cooking them, if you're gonna cook the soul food, try to do some things that are different with it. If you want to learn how, Call us at 847-865-1010, and we'll show you how to do that. We'll create recipes for you. And of course, donations are accepted.
You got a website too?
The website is www.youthagculinary.com, and the email is youthagculinary@gmail.com.
And that phone number is at 847-949-3283?
No, the number for our school is
Yeah.
847
Okay.
865-1010.
Okay, 865
1010.
1010. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of our viewers are going to be calling that number to get acquainted because it's a lifestyle is what they what's
It is.
will be involved
It
in.
is. It's a lifestyle. I also like to thank my sister LaTanya Collins and also my family members who come all the way from Chicago to help me with this program. You know who you are, and I'd like to say thank you. So a lot of family.
This is fantastic. I know they're proud of you. And it was, I guess, started out by the military, right?
Yeah, it
That's where
started
you
from the military.
yeah.
It did. It started off from the military. It actually started off from my grandparents and my mom.
Okay, right.
That was a
Give
start.
them
That was a
credit
start.
there.
Yeah. Churning the ice cream churning that homemade ice cream. Yeah.
Right, right.
So that's where it came from.
Well, I'm sure my viewers have benefit from this program, but just in case someone tuned in late, we've been talking with head chef Robert Collins. He's the president of Youth Age Culinary, and he's a retired veteran, U.S. Navy.
Yes, sir.
And
Who, your Navy?
And also, we didn't mention you're a graduate of Robert Morris University. What was your
sir.
major there?
Business.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my major was business.
So
I also
that-
went to Kendall College for the culinary portion, but my bachelor's degree was from Robert Morris University.
So that ties in right away with your business because you have to have a business background to run
That is
the
correct.
school,
You have to
know?
have the business part of it.
Yeah, right.
You have to.
right. And again, the motto is changing lives one at a time.
One at a time.
And tell us about that motto. What is that?
It means,
Young?
it just means this. If I teach one kid and one kid wants to learn, that one kid will impact somebody, or I impacted his life.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Brooks.
Collins, and I hope you a lot of success
I appreciate it.
in changing lives.
Thank you, sir.
One at a time.
One at a time.
Ladies and gentlemen, again, we've been talking with head chef Robert Collins. He's the president of Youth Age Culinary, and he's a retired veteran in U.S. Navy. He was right next door to Great Lakes Naval Base.
Correct.
And a graduate of Robert Morris University. He's been sharing with us a lifestyle that we hope that we can get involved with. This has been Community Forum. My name is Dr. Waddell Brooks Sr., your host.